Hey, so let's just make a start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another LoLa Podcast. And actually, today is a bit of a weird one. We're starting a bit weirdly because I was just having a discussion with Marcus Farrey. And I was trying to put together a bit of a bio about him so I can give him a proper introduction before we jump in. And I was reading on his LinkedIn that he's an empathic workplace mediator. And for some reason, I had like a predisposition to say, you do meditation, you teach people about being being more intelligent about their emotional status and trying to work through stuff. And he comes onto the call and he's talking about a mediation. He's a workplace mediator. So suddenly it becomes a bit more HR related and it becomes a bit more legally related. I'm like, did I get the wrong end of the stick here? What happened? Why did this happen? Well, I'll pass it over to Marcus. He can explain a bit more about what he does and why I was so confused, because I really felt out of place then. I thought I did this wrong. Something's going really wrong here. Marcus, welcome.
Roger, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I need a coffee. It's late in the day as well. I should have brought my little coffee for it. But so I have been a workplace mediator now since starting my business in 2024 in the August. And prior to that, I was a family mediator. I was trained family mediator. I was mediating cases. And then for like 2-3 years before that, 2 or 3 years before that, I was in high crisis residential childcare for safeguarding vulnerable children in the care setting. And then 10 years prior to that, I think, I was in the home improvement sector. I was running my parents' company. So I've always been family orientated, community orientated. And I think the best thing about the family business was that, after my dad passed away in 2015, it was like my turn to step up and then run the firm. So it was exciting, yeah. And then I owned my boots up just before COVID, really. Went traveling and did qualify as a meditation and yoga teacher. So there is a slight crossover. So I've got like the Harmony Accelerator, and it is I've put an advert out there for the Harmony Accelerator on the 15th of December for a guided meditation and breathing session, just so everyone slows everything a little bit down for the start of the new year. Just relax everybody. And
well, because just for people that don't know, Marcus and I were both part of an initiative called Rosendale Digital in the area of Rosendale, which is where we're based. And through that, he made the post about this running this session in meditation. So it was imprinted in my brain like it was some kind of meditation. And when I was reading his LinkedIn profile where it said mediation, I just autocorrected it automatically in my brain and said meditation. So it completely threw me off. So I started this conversation and then he goes about the mediation of cases and all that stuff. And then I'm like, something's not right here. But then I mentioned meditation. He's like, oh, I'll do meditation as well. I thought that is very strange. I don't know why and where I got that from. But here we are. So do you want to tell us a bit more about what the mediation actually looks like? Because it's a bit of a question mark. People think because it happens behind closed doors, that's a bit of a dark art and you don't know what to expect from it. But you've been in it for a very long time. You're very experienced, obviously. So give us a bit of an example, a bit of the insights about how that works.
Well, it's managing people's thoughts, feelings, and what's really the best for them. Like, I'm a non-legal body, so I don't tell people what you should do. No, it's basically when the mediation begins, it's like, so you structure it. It's a structured process, first and foremost, from referral to the initial phone call to the introduction. And then you book a one-to-one with a client. And then you see them, and then you reach out to the other party, and then the other party, you invite them to mediation. Again, it's a voluntary process, so they don't have to come, but it builds that bridge if they have to, hence bridge harmony in the middle. So we bridge that gap between conflict and resolution and really try and take them first steps into what looks like a good night's sleep, because I don't know about you, but every time I've had something happen in a previous line of work or a different work, it plays in your mind at night sometimes, and I want to eradicate that just from the workplace setting. So when Bridge Harmony was founded, it was like a key asset to me because it was founded on the form of wanting to be a conflict resolution provider as I was going through a period in South Wales where I needed conflict resolution from a neutral third party the most. I didn't want to talk to someone in their company uniform. So I was like, is there anyone we can bring in to just help me? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, yeah. So then my miraculous moment of, I moved to Newcastle. And then there were some gorgeous bridges there. So when my website drops very, very soon, you'll see on the about section, Newcastle's bridge. That's a first and first almost for you. A little sneak peek behind the scenes. So we're tying back into the mediation process. It's structured, it's informal, I'm impartial, I don't take your side. It's confidential unless you disclose anything as regards to money laundering, any harm to adults or children. I have a legal obligation then to report that to a safeguarding member. And apart from that, it's a very future focused process. So for example, Roger, if you had a couple of ideas that you'd want to put across, whether it was a joint session or a shuttle. So shuttles where I shuttle between both parties from room to room. The joint process is where we talk it out all in the same room and we can, disclose what needs to be disclosed. And it's a very safe process as well. So over to you, Roger, if you want to talk about how your thoughts and feelings are, and like what's in this for you, this process. And then there's a key point of where you get in uninterrupted time. So I'll talk to you both. Each person has, I call it sacred time because I'm spiritually inclined, you could say. And it's sacred. I call it sacred 15-minute space because, it's your time to speak and the other party, hopefully, won't interrupt. And if you do, it's a bit awkward and we'll just say, look, it's their time and you'll get your time to speak and then we can open up dialogue after everyone's had their say, really.
So before we get into the very big elephant in the room in terms of how difficult mediating people's emotions when you're in that kind of conflict resolution situation, in terms of the actual art behind it and the science behind it, how much of it is legal? How much of it is psychological? How much of that is going to be more process driven? How does it all come together? Because it does seem like it's a cross section for multiple things.
So I'm not a counsellor, first and foremost. I'm not a legal body. It's a non-legal, I call it an empathetic process because if you lead with a human-centered approach, then people's barriers come down. It's very psychological, it's very emotional, it's very difficult. It's not an easy process. It's a difficult process, but doing the hard things make the easy things happen. And I'm a firm believer. I'm a specialist in difficult conversations and just guiding people through that process with gentleness, with active listening. And the thing that everyone misses the most in this industry is the understanding that they are going through what could be. It could be suicidal for them. You don't know. You don't know. You're handling the most sacred space for that person, and it
would be difficult for the consultant, for you, the mediator, because when you do enough of these cases, you can very easily accidentally drift into cynicism and start dismissing some of people's emotions. So it's one of your jobs to be able to make people that are talking at that moment in time feel like what they're saying is valid and recognize that, so they're able to share it. Because if you become dismissive of it and sometimes shut them down, then the conflict just goes into a defensive mode, and then you don't resolve anything. You just keep building internal thoughts rather than getting them out and resolving the issue.
And I've heard cases of mediators doing that, and you're thinking, why would you break impartiality? Or why would you, and you're thinking, you shouldn't be doing this job. And they say, Marcus, how do you do it? You're like one of the best ones we know. And it's like, I'm just me. I think I'm born this way. And it's like, yes, you have to learn a lot, granted, but you have to be a nice person at the same time and have your own outlets where, I speak to my coach after it's, some people should be really immediate. I was in Tesco the other night, and this guy was so nice. He was so empathetic, and he was just like, I was going down to my girlfriend's house for the first time, and I was nervous, and he was like, he was like a mirror to me of what I am to others, and it was like, I said, you should be a mediator. We need more people like you doing this gentle flow. And he was working in Tesco, and I was like, you've got the gift. And it's a rarity. It's a rarity, yeah. Yeah.
So before we move into the point of the podcast, which is talking about technology, in terms of the goals, you start a case, you speak to the client, you get a bit of an understanding of what the actual case is and what type of mediation you might need. What is the goal? If you were to distill it down, at the end of the process, what do you need to get out of both people, or the outcome of the whole situation, for you to be able to say that was successful? It has been completed the way it was supposed to.
And that isn't the mediation approach. I don't come up with the answers. I don't come up with the solutions. If it resolves, great. Well, I can open every door on the highway, but if the client doesn't walk down the door, I've done my bit. And it's all about, because it's voluntary. They don't even have to be there. If they don't want a resolution, I can't force anything. I'm impartial. I don't give advice. I can support what thoughts and feelings they are, but again, I'm not a non-legal body, so it's like I'm impartial. So it's like a lot of other mediators come into hot water because they're like, oh, well, what do you think about this? And it's like, well, it's not for the mediator to. You've got to be very, very gentle, very, very careful. So whatever outcome they think's right is right, and you'd be surprised. Yeah, it's mediation. You'd be surprised what comes up.
It's almost like the goal is not resolution. The goal is not conflict. The goal is enabling communication.
Yeah,
getting it out
there. You get a little bit, and there's no resolution. Have you improved that relationship? Yes, fantastic.
Amazing. Okay, so we've got a better idea of what your work is, and I'm sure people are watching or listening to this podcast and now having a bit of a clearer idea of what the whole process looks like. And maybe for someone that actually requires mediation for their conflict resolution, they'll actually start clicking and think, I have been stressing and dreading having a conversation with this person about this situation that I find myself in. And if I just knew that a mediator exists, that I can get that communication going without the stress of me having to initiate it, because it will be taken in a certain way. If you go and speak to someone and they already know what your background and what your thoughts are, then they might get into that conversation with a predisposition, which might not be constructive. Whereas getting a mediator involved, and that mediator basically saying, I'm here to transfer information from one person to the other. I am impartial. You can tell me whatever you think you want me to say, and then get you to exchanging information in a very impartial way. And suddenly it gets the ball rolling. It starts flowing forward. And if it's flowing forward, that's the direction it needs to be going anyway. So there you go. Okay. Yeah. So if we take it back now, if we take a step back and think about the general structure that we have in this podcast, which is in terms of you as an entrepreneur, and in terms of you as a business, and as an individual as well, and how you've progressed over through your journey. If we take it to the past and start talking about, maybe even go as far back as the family business, and then start talking about how you made the flip from one situation to the other, and how you started your business in the first place, and why you decided that this is the way to go, and what kind of technologies maybe were actually enabling you to do that, how those changed over time, and today what you're using as part of your business to make your job easier, because sometimes the tools that we use can change the way we work and accelerate us.
Absolutely.
Perfect. And then in terms of the future, what do you see coming up in terms of your type of industry and your mission and vision? Do you have any enablers coming up? Do you have any opportunities? Do you have any dangers? And how would you deal with them? Let's start with the past. Tell us about it.
Can we cut that? I need to plug my laptop in just for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I thought I'd wait for a pause.
Everyone, we're going for a charger.
Right again.
I'll cut it.
Yeah. I've got to plug in. Fantastico. Right, what did you close on? You closed it on what does
no, it's still recording. I'll just cut it later.
See.
Yeah. So if you have any cursing to do or anything like you don't want recorded, do it now, and then I'll put it in the bloopers. Okay. And I guess we're back. So we need to start about the story. You need to tell us a bit more about how you made the decision to start your business and what kind of enablers you had at the time. So go, take it away.
Fantastic. So what helped me start my business was going through what was the worst point in my life. So I was working as a conflict resolution worker in South Wales at a really big corporate company, and I made the move from family mediation down to community mediation to, you know, prevent homelessness in the streets of Wales. And it was, I love the job. I could have done, you know, the values, the principles of the company. I'm not naming this company anywhere, just for the record. It's completely off the record. And basically it was, to me, it was hard. It was, you know, it's a small team, and, you know, long story short, there was 19 incidents over the course of 4 months, 2 being illegal and 1 being unlawful. And for me, it was the worst time. I didn't want to go back to my mum's house because I just moved out. It was 4 months in. Every time she'd speak to me, it'd be like, "How you doing? You all right?" And I'd dread lying. I said, "Well, if I was at McDonald's in Newcastle," because that's where I moved to, I'd say, "Look, I'm at McDonald's. I'll call you back. Is that right?" And for me, it was really difficult. And to have first-hand experience of speaking to employment solicitors, speaking to union reps, going through the trenches of what people actually go through, and then think, you know what, when I was in Newcastle at my friend's house, I eventually told my mum, and she went, "Come on." And I was like, 32, I don't want to go back to my mum's house again. I've been trying to move out, and you just, yeah. So for me, it was like very humble beginnings. My grievance hearings came up in September. I set bridge harmony up on the 20th of August, 24. Grievance hearings came in September. I dropped my employment lawyer. I dropped my union rep. And I said to the company on the grievance hearing, I've created a business called Bridge Harmony Mediation and now Training Academy. And I feel like we'd work well together because I've been burnt under the hands of the organization and could put in a brilliant process of what it would look like. And they looked at me like I just discovered fire, Roger. They went, "Sorry, what?" I said, "Right, okay, bad things happened. I've closed it all. Drop. Let's work together collectively because I know how this works. And the benefit of a neutral third party that isn't in the organization would absolutely excel to really bridge the gap of communication where it's needed." I'm still waiting on him, however, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And then I think AI was a big player in my startup with Bridge Harmony.
Okay, so when did you start using it, and what way did you use it?
So AI would be for strategy, ideas, target market, business plan, structure. You could say pretty much everything, but marketing ideas, like the full Monty, really, because I had no one else to talk to at first because I didn't go to any networking meetings. I didn't know who to talk to because when you start, you get dressed, you open your laptop and you think, right, how can I make this a good day? And a laptop is a good bit of tech. I've got a ThinkPad 480. Is it a T480? I don't even know what that means. It's a laptop to me. You probably know exactly what model it is.
To be fair, in terms of getting use out of the tool, you care about the outcome. You don't care about what the actual name of it is. As long as it works and it does what you need it to do, that's the important thing. And it does.
Yeah.
So when it comes to AI and all this planning, in terms of that's one of the great things about AI. You can get either your thoughts down and structure them. When you have loads of them, you just do a brain dump, and then you do a bit of a structuring of your own thoughts. Or the other way around, when you get into a point where there is a line and creatively you need to break that barrier to start getting those ideas in, rather than trying to trigger your own mind, you fire the question out and you get ideas coming in, and then you're like, that's crap, but actually that makes a lot of sense. And now that I've seen that, it starts evolving from there in your own mind. So getting those ideas, getting those marketing ideas especially, and you think, oh yeah, I can do that. That's something I can do right now. And then you start actioning them. But what I found as well as a danger with it is that sometimes you get overloaded with information that might not actually be beneficial for your situation.
Yeah, I
How
agree.
do you deal with it? How do you get that planning out into the real world?
And a lot of, I think, like I said to you before, I found AI pictures now that I put myself in an AI scene of me mediating what would look like a case in a glass office, just so I could show people what I do. Suppose it gives that it's easier to, it doesn't teach mediation, it does mediation, not meditation, just so a picture tells 1,000 words and there's a bio. And then I'll do one in like a monk's outfit when I do my harmony accelerator.
That'd be great. And make yourself float off the ground as well.
Levitate. Oh, this is it. Levitating.
Levitating meditation. Hey, that's going to be your next business.
Yeah.
When is the meditation, by the way? When is the session?
So I've got a session on the 15th at, I think it's like 6 o'clock online.
That's 15th of December, so this month.
Yes, so next Monday.
Oh, there you go. Is it going to be online or is it going to be face-to-face?
Definitely online for the first one. And it's just an introduction to the Harmony Accelerator where we teach active listening skills, role play scenarios out in the workplace. And basically make them all mini mediators and they all get a nice certificate at the end. So it's like how to handle conflict in the workplace. You'll jump on the course and it finishes with a nice meditation. So next Monday is going to be the meditation that is on the actual Harmony Accelerator.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Well, what I find interesting about it's something that we've dealt with as well. It's a problem that we have within our business is that we've created a technology that people don't know about, and it's a bit of an education piece. Every time you speak to someone, you need to come out and describe what it is and why it's beneficial, and then show the value, and then provide. And it does seem like at the end of the whole conversation of education, the one thing you really need is give people an example or a few examples of a practical application of the thing that you're talking about. Because then it starts clicking in place in people's thoughts. People understand situation a lot better than they understand theory. And for you, in terms of the training academy and actually putting people through some simulations of case management or mediation, you're saying you're playing this person, attempt to be difficult because you've been approached. You attempt to try and solve a solution, and I'll show you exactly how it works. And by the end of it, people start recognizing the value of having an impartial mediating party in between the two. And then when they go out into the world, the moment they hear a situation that actually requires a mediator and the parties are not really aware of what that is, then they'll step in and be like, actually, you should speak to Marcus. He will solve this for you without even trying to, because he'll provide that piece of communication.
Yeah, the 999 Marcus, I need you to come in and sort it out.
Do you have that number? Should we put that out there? 999.
Brilliant.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
You should call Better Call Saul.
Workplace issues, 999, bridge Germany at the stopping gap. But yeah, I mean, tech-wise though, was coming back to tech. I mean, there's so much out there. I was speaking to, is it Ibi in the group?
Ibrahim, yes.
Ibrahim, he's a cool chap as well, just like you and a few of the others. Like,
lovely person, isn't he?
Yeah.
An expert in what he does, but he's also a lovely person. I love him to bits.
Yeah, I'm seeing him on Friday for a cup of tea or a coffee at Costa, and I love tech. I'm learning about it. I'm learning more and more. The guy that's building my website from raw code, Josh.
Nice.
He'd be a great introduction for you, he would. It'd be a
good one on the podcast.
I tell you what, after this podcast, I'll get him on and I'll get him to give you a call. Or a text or a message. Yeah, I'll do you a warm intro on WhatsApp.
Is he based in the area as well? Is he local?
Yeah, Rochdale. So a train away.
Also, a bit of a message for people out there. I mean, we're talking about people interested in tech, and this Rosendale digital community is all about people that have an interest in some kind of tech, whether that's through their business or they're just tech enthusiasts or they're actually innovators within their fields. But what's really interesting is that a small, quote unquote, small area in the north of the UK, and not the UK, England, and then Rosendale, not a huge population. And you think back 2 years ago, we didn't even have a community of digital or tech stuff. And just to start recognizing the amount of opportunity, the amount of people, the amount of things that are happening right next door, like literally you could walk to it and we're not aware of it, because in tech and in digital, people work in their own little bubbles. They don't recognize what's outside them because they're connected to the internet, and the internet is everywhere, it's global. But then the local stuff that you don't realize that are happening, just talking to a few people, suddenly I've got a person who's an expert in making websites in Rochdale. We're talking here about AI. You're using AI in your own business and you're developing your marketing strategy as part of your own business. And then we've got Innovate UK grants and we're doing innovative stuff. And then we've got Ibrahim, he's an expert in servers and putting things and hosting things. He's running his own data center essentially. And
he's going to be my server. He's my guy, yeah.
You just wouldn't know until you have this conversation. So guys, just go and speak to people. Or get a mediator involved. Oh wow! Oh, so as the final piece, like we always go towards the end of the podcast, what do you see in the future? Like, what opportunities do you see coming up for you, or that you'd like to take advantage of, or vice versa? Do you see any dangers that are coming within the industry that you're working in, and how do you position yourself or your company to be prepared?
I feel like that's a very good question. The first part of that was, where do I see myself in 2 to 3 years? I want to expand into maybe the greater cities and have like a little resolution center, more mediators that just walk into businesses, hold space, and grow like that. I mean, I really, really, really want to grow internationally. Truth be told, I'd love a resolution center in every country in the world. A resolution mediation team that would bring peace, bring understanding, bring empathy to people going through what I went through, and all them other people out there that are having those sleepless nights, that are training far too much in the gym, what was my case, and not realizing there was an actual issue that needed that critical hour just to talk about. I want to be there for all them people. And for me, it's world peace, always, always, always. And I kind of, again, I've always been like that. If I could create
the part or the meditation part talking, or are they working together at this moment?
Working cohesively there, yeah.
Oh, amazing! Because I'm thinking about it as well. One of the things that I'm picking up from the vision that you're putting there is, how do you bring it down to a level that people can understand and have that entry point where they don't feel like they're overstepping or stepping too far from their comfort zones today? Because you've got a few different segments of what your market could look like there. It could be family and personal and those kind of resolutions in those kind of situations. It could be more psychology, because some people require a person to speak to and they want an expert which they can bounce off and get some advice rather than just getting mediation. Or the other way around, when you step into the corporate world, you're talking about legal stuff or HR cases or conflicts between companies, and those become a bit more
civil and commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So at what point do you stop? At what point do you start? Or how do you easily segment those different ways so that people know where they land?
We cover all workplace issues as regards to discrimination, manager to janitor, CEO to janitor level, teams to teams, interpersonal issue, interracial issues, sexual discrimination, physical harassment, all them heavy duty issues, all them workplace issues. We take care of them. And it's having that someone that can come in again as a third party neutral, that someone you can rely on, trust, and just understand. Again, active listening is so underrated. It shouldn't even be called a soft skill. It should be called the skill.
Get that in first and then do anything else.
Yeah. Like it's the micro signs as well, the microaggressions that you see every single day. Like, a colleague might just come in and put his bag on his desk, but in a microaggressive way. And you're thinking, is he all right? Or is she all right? Are they all right? And you're thinking, maybe, I don't know, because I've got my own stuff going on. I've got my own binoculars. I'm only doing my workload. And then when something happens and there's a massive issue, you're thinking, well, you did put your bag on there. And you're thinking, why don't you just, where's the early interaction? Where's the harmony accelerator? Can we not just bridge the gap with like, yeah. So much work to be done there.
What's the website? Just give us the domain that everyone's going to go and jump on after it goes live and have a look at.
All the websites currently live, and the domain's going to be the same. So it's www.bridgeharmony.co.uk. That's www.bridgeharmony.co.uk. It has got my old website on it at the moment, and the new one should be live within the next couple of weeks. So hopefully, by the time this drops,
hopefully I'll be late enough so the website is out after this goes out.
Yeah. I'll introduce you to Josh and be like, let Theo know when. Let Roger know. Sorry, I call you Theo.
You won't call me Theo. Don't worry about it.
Such a cool name. Like it's upon cool. So yeah, I was like, yeah, it'd be good. What else is coming over the next 2 to 3 years? Tech wise, I don't want AI. I'm scared of AI taking over my industry.
Okay.
Because a lot of the court system now is using AI. I spoke to Charles Voss. He's one of the highest people in the court system, and it is being used. I was in a conference in London in March, and it is being used in family cases. It is being used in the courtroom, and it's helping judges decide. Like it's helping retain the information, put out key points, so there's a bit more of a faster process to speed up the court process.
Okay.
And it's interesting when you think about it's being used in the courtroom of how to just weigh up both sides, and the jury's always going to have their piece and say. But I don't know, I've not thought about that enough to actually come out with an opinion, but this is what's happening now. So is it losing the human authentic approach? Is it, do you still get the skills of active listening or do you just say, right, client X has done this in the workplace, give me some resolutions and outcomes? You will get that, but you still need the mediator to, AI mediation, it's good, but does he get the job done? I mean,
it's going to be a bit weird, that one, because if you go backwards, people with personal thoughts that are not very comfortable sharing would be able to bounce off a machine a lot easier than they would from a situation where there's people involved. But vice versa, having a person who is actively shutting down their emotions and taking sides, it makes people open up. They feel like they're in a safe room. So it's almost like a bigger step to get into it. But the moment you get into it, you get better results. So I guess only time will tell, but I'm sure there will be not a separation, but almost like there's an extra tool that can accelerate some situations, and there is some situations that tool cannot be used for effectively. So even in your mediation, just recording and transcribing the words of that and then passing it through some kind of AI to summarize it. It does.
You'd need consent first and foremost. You need to get a farm if that was okay with them. Otherwise, it's not confidential for them. And if they consent, you can legally do that. But if they don't, it's like, hang on a minute, it's a bit,
Well, exactly that. So
it's like, I don't use it personally.
Person is required. There you go. And it does give that value that you can provide. And by being an expert and trained and having had many successful mediation cases before, people do feel like they're able to open up and they will get the result that they're looking for. On the other hand, there is an issue with AI, and I don't know how it's being dealt with currently because it's almost like a gray area. So when you're creating a text, when you're generating it from generative AI, you get to the point where you get the M dashes and the N dashes, which really annoy me. I want to punch my monitor every time I see them. But I need to calm down and zen my way through this. But the reason that they appear, I have surmised, I have decided, I'm not sure that's the reason, but that's why I think it's there, is because the LLMs, the chatbots that we're using, they're designed to speak in a way that sounds like a human. So by putting those N and M dashes in place, when they're reading out the text, they're able to know when to pause, when to use the right punctuation, when to actually flow through the sentence in a more natural way, which is good when you're chatting with a bot. But on the other hand, when you're seeing it as a text, it just throws everything off. No one that I've ever met uses M and N dashes. Someone said that they do, and I would call them out on it if I ever saw them typing an email out. Anyway, but if you flip that on its head, what happens when you record the voice of someone that's saying something in a very emotional way, but then you transcribe that into words? Those words might not necessarily reflect the depth of what they were saying in reality. And you pass that through an AI, and someone might be a wordsmith. They can, spout out loads of words put together and get a good point across. And someone else can be a lot more emotional about the way they express it. So when you see them, you understand what they're saying because you fill in the gaps with your understanding. But if it's on text, you lose a very large amount of emotion data. It's not there.
You know what else is really, really important to consider? 60% of what you've just spoken about then wasn't words. If you didn't speak them but actually did, it's your body language, it's your emotion, it's your facial, it's your excitement, it's your passion. You cannot add that onto a text. However, if you watch this back with no words, all you'd see then is Roger being so excited and so passionate. And it's like, people are engaged because it's like, that's fantastic. I don't know what he's talking about, but I want to listen to it.
I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'm in.
Yes. So mediation is 60+% of that as well. It's like, so you're right. You're absolutely correct in what you just said. And I don't think AI can do that.
Hopefully someday it will be better at it. Right now, there is definitely a middle ground.
The middle ground, yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be the title of this podcast. I do try and find for other conversations, like the points where we come into some sort of point of conversion, and the middle ground. I mean, if someone sees that becomes a bit of a clickbait as well.
There's a conflict of interest, I have to say.
Go on.
There's a conflict. There's a firm that I've done a podcast with.
The
middle ground.
Oh, sure.
We call it Switzerland. I mean,
wow. Yeah, they paid me to say this and call it.
Yeah. Just so we're covering the legals.
Promoted content right here. Actually, no
podcast. There'll be that. If you said this, there'll be 3. You could call a session the middle ground. I mean, there's no legals around that. I don't think. It's like when
I'll call it that, and then I'll send them an invoice for the promotion.
There's actually another podcast called The Middle Ground, and the other mediation companies Middle Ground, and then it's complicated. I'm not sure. I'm a non-legal. I mean, as long as Switzerland be a good one. Switzerland's the most neutral country in the world. I love it.
Yep. So that's your favorite country. That's the end of the podcast, and your final words are, well, Switzerland is my favorite country.
Yeah. Switzerland and Nando's.
That could be their podcast title. Switzerland is my favorite country.
Switzerland and Nando's.
And
I've been craving Nando's for a while,
The transcript, I'm going to use this to make a bit of a summary of it. And I'll say Switzerland and Nando's is the title of the podcast. There's nothing else to be said. Everyone wants to know what these guys are talking about. They're talking about Switzerland and Nando's. Let's find out. Okay.
What's your favorite Nando's before we close, if you want?
Yeah, the thing is, they're going to send us a cease and desist letter, and we only use this word once in the whole podcast. Well, there you go. Well, thank you very much, Marcus, for coming over, for spending this time. I mean, we try and make them short so we don't bore people, but I will definitely need to arrange with you like a face-to-face podcast.
Yeah, a proper cup of tea.
And I'll get you a mug, seriously, because that's the only thing today. Amazing. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one.
Welcome. Take care. God bless.